Welcome to another episode of Crosstalk. My name is Kevin Tocci, and as you know, this particular program tries to do its best to focus on things that are going on in the community. From time to time, we might stray off course and do things, whether it's something on the South Shore, maybe it might be political in nature. It doesn't matter. We try to do our best to at least entertain the folks who do tune into this channel. And as you can kind of see our surroundings today, we are not in the safe confines of our studio at 115 South Avenue in Whitman. We are actually, I want to say 476 Webster Street in Hanover. That is the location of the South Shore Votech. Joining me to my immediate left, your right, is Superintendent Director, yes, Dr. Tom Hickey.
Hi, Kevin.
We have Nick Bunker. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And Christina Tina O'Brien. How are you? I'd reach over, but I ended up knocking one of these things over. Welcome to the show. Now, this particular show, what we're here to talk about is the cosmetology program and speak with them, the two students and Dr. Hickey, about the program and how it has excelled over the years, and maybe share some details to some prospective students who might want to come to this particular school. First and foremost, tell me about these two students that you picked or that were chosen to sit down and have a conversation with us.
Kevin, thanks for taking such an interest in our programs here at South Shore. Tina and Nick were picked by the instructors as being great ambassadors for the program. They are articulate, they're active, they're passionate about the program that they chose. Nick's a senior, Tina's a junior, so it wasn't too long ago that they began in the program, but the number of hours that they've put into this program to develop their skills, they'll certainly have a lot to expand upon. As you said at the beginning, we're here in the school salon, and we run a full-service salon, and I'll leave it to Tina and Nick to fill in some of the details, but it's another example of how, when we say a real-world curriculum,
this is it?
This is it. People come into this salon to have their hair done, and it's not a simulation, and it's not a worksheet, and it's not out of a textbook, and our students continue to have clientele come back. We know that for a fact, and so the instructors and the students are clearly doing something right. So this salon is open from 8 to 12, Tuesday through Friday. Most of the folks that come here, they make appointments, and the teachers are able to schedule based on the students. As I've told you in past shows, we run on an alternating week schedule. So the week that Tina is in shop, Nick and his senior class, they're in academics, English, math, science, and social studies. When Nick is in shop, Tina is on the juniors are on their academic week. So they're alternating every 5 days, shops and academics.
I guess we'll start with Tina first. What made you choose this particular program to excel in?
Well, I really like working with hands-on, like doing the updos we do on the mannequins, and just the whole creative aspect of it. It just really interests me.
Now, from what I've learned through osmosis, with Dr. Hickey and speaking with some of your peers and other classmates, is that when you first come to South Shore Votech, you have an opportunity. You're in kind of checking out other shops. Was there a close second or third that we could maybe? We're sitting here, and you might be talking about another program that you were in, or was this it?
Well, actually, I came to the school wanting health careers, and I went through it. It was okay, and then I came through cosmetology, and I fell in love with it, and so I picked this as my first choice.
Okay. And Nick, I will tell folks, when I first walked into the salon, as we were getting, doing a little pre-production, I recognized him immediately because he was the star of one of our open house shows that we did. We came here. It was, I think, probably the last one that was held during the weekday. And Nick was kind enough to kind of do a little bit of a showcase about this shop with another student. And he did a phenomenal job in helping us. And being patient, as we had to do it a number of different times because we were trying to be tricky. And I got to ask you, Nick, what made you choose cosmetology?
So I actually came here originally for carpentry because my family background, they're all builders. But as I went through exploratory, this was my last shop that I have entered, and I actually really liked it because I liked working with my hands. I liked the creative aspect to it, the artwork of it all, and the haircutting.
Now, what has your family said? Again, you're saying that this is a trade. What did your family say as far as you choosing to want to go in this direction instead of carpentry?
So I was stepping outside of the box, but it was in a good way.
Yep.
See, but my family's really proud of me for doing it.
And that's cool. And when you told me that, the first thing it reminded me of, I've had a chance to talk with a lot of folks across different genres. You know who Ming Tsai is? Anybody here know who Ming Tsai is? Ming Tsai is a gentleman who owns a couple of restaurants in Boston, and he's been on TV a couple of times. And his family, he comes from a family of engineers. Now imagine this gentleman having to go to his family and saying, I want to cook, I like cooking. But he did it so well, and they were so proud of him, they embraced it. So hear you talk about that, that's the first thing I thought of is someone like a Ming Tsai who was world famous, world renowned for his dishes and for doing TV. You could be the next Ming Tsai, so to speak. Were you going to
I'm just going to say, Kevin, but the stories that you just heard, here we have two students who start off by saying, I'm passionate about the program I'm in. But on day one, they thought they were heading in another direction. So for me, what this reinforces is, this is why we have an exploratory program. We have the open houses. You've helped us cover those, certainly. The open house process, the guidance recruitment process. There are lots of conversations around the dinner table. I'm sure during exploratory, your folks would be asking you, so what shop were you in this week, and what did you think, and this one was boring, and this one was interesting, and this is all part of a discernment process of figuring out what it is that you're passionate about. If this system works, then I have a high school filled with 600 students who are here anchored by something they're passionate about.
Right.
And I couldn't ask for a better environment to be in education, knowing that there is something in this building that every kid is excited about. Expecting an 8th grader to know what they want to do for the rest of their life is absolute nonsense.
Right.
But to have them spend half of their freshman year at least picking what the next few years of their life are going to be and what they can focus on, that's exactly why we have the program. I'm glad that you're obviously happy with how things turned out, and that's why we have that program.
So the flexibility was kind of a key as to you choosing from, instead of wanting to do carpentry, I want to go in this direction. Would you say that?
Oh yeah.
Would you say the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you've done while you're here. Being a senior, some of the things that you've got to enjoy from your freshman year right up until your senior year.
Probably the knowledge I've learned through the cosmetology department, because as a guy, you don't learn all this when you're a young guy. So catching up to the girls' speed was a little bit hard, but I found enjoying testing my skills and everything like that.
Now you're a junior.
Yes.
You still have one more year before you kind of take over the school. What are some of the things that you have collected as far as knowledge and some of the things that you've enjoyed as a student here at South Shore Votech?
I really loved, all my friends and I were all friends in the shop. We've come really close. I wasn't friends with any of them. And the shop really brought us all together. And I've just learned all the different, their styles and my styles, and how we bounce each other's ideas off of each other. And it's just been really fun.
Now, is this something that you're going to pursue when you leave here, Nick? You're planning on going into the military, isn't that correct?
Yeah, later on, probably within a year or so. But before I go into that, I want to go to barbering school to get that license.
Really? Yeah. Now, are you also pursuing your cosmetology license as well at this time, or you already have it?
I already have it.
Okay.
I got it.
It's a huge accomplishment, okay, and I think, Kevin, it would be really helpful right now if Nick could explain a little bit about that process, because we're not talking about a junior license. We're not talking about some sort of special, it's something special for high school. When you ask cosmetology license, this is the state.
It's a big deal.
This is the state license. This is the professional standards license.
There's a lot involved.
That an 18-year-old student from South Shore Votech is obtaining, and it is a rigorous process that we devote a portion of our curriculum to, and again, Nick has achieved that. So Nick, maybe you can talk a little bit about
give the insight,
what we do to prepare you, and then what's actually involved in taking a test for a cosmetologist license.
So you pick a date that you want to go for your testing, and You go to that building, you walk in the room, they register you into the area where you're going to be testing. There are 2 tests. There is the 5-hour test, which is doing everything like in the physical aspect of it all, which the 5 hours will fly, but you think it will be like almost 2 days worth of time that you're standing doing work just because of the pressure. Once you're finished with that, you take not a written exam, it's on the computer, but just to see like if you know the theory behind everything. And I thought that was pretty easy. But the whole test in general, it's no easy thing. You need to know what you're doing.
What's the physical part? What's the 5 hours? What are you actually doing? Are there certain things that you're showcasing and that they're inspecting and looking at?
So what you have to do is you have to perform a haircut to make sure you know how to use your shears and everything like that. You need to perform a wash, a blow dry. You have to show that you know you can do different perms. You need to know how to use a curling iron. You need to know how to do the basic nail application. And you need to know how to part the hair off into 9 different sections.
Wow, that can be intriguing. I didn't know there were 9 personally. I've learned something.
Yeah, now you do. And again, this is to Tina's earlier point about hands-on. So this is the total opposite of an MCAS test, but it is high stakes because because it costs money to sit for this license.
Around
Where
like
you're not sitting, you're standing for 5 hours. But how much is it?
Around 130.
Yeah, so it is. I mean, it's also a personal financial investment as well.
Oh yeah.
And you've heard me say before, Kevin, that a lot of our vocational programs, all of our kids leave with at least 1 third-party credential in the form of an OSHA safety credential. And then in each of our 14 vocational majors, there are other credentials. And this is the pinnacle. Within our program here at school, when do the teachers start talking about getting ready for the boards? I hear sometimes the teachers talking about mock state boards and things like that.
So we do throw mock state boards, so it kind of gives you a preparation for the real deal. But you start that usually when you're a junior because you're coming up to the point where you're earning your 1,000 hours, which after you get your 1,000 hours, you can go for your license.
So it's almost like being an attorney. You have to put in your time before there are certain trades that you have to put in a certain, be a journeyman. If you're an electrician, you have to kind of put in X amount of hours. It's similar to that.
And that's why the design of this school, where we devote half of the education in the vocational setting, is absolutely essential. Running a cosmetology program in a high school setting, if these students were only in front of a cosmetology teacher for an hour a day, you would not get anywhere near the level of rigor or practice. Because, I mean, so much of it is practice. Getting feedback, doing it again, getting feedback, doing it again. And that's why, Kevin, for the underclassmen in the program, with which both Tina and Nick were obviously growing up through the program, they don't start on day 1 in the salon, right?
No. Your freshman and sophomore year, you learn the basics of everything, and the teachers help you along. And then junior year, at the end of sophomore year, you start working on clients. So you get used to it. And then junior year, you're perfecting everything. And then senior year, perfecting.
So I have to ask you, because you guys are at the pinnacle of, you're more so the mentors to your younger peers. What is that like where you're kind of helping? And what are some of the things you've learned from older peers that you're passing on now? Christina?
Well, my juniors that I grew up with, they taught me like how to talk to a client, how to like introduce yourself to the client, and without them, I wouldn't have known to go up, shake their hand, and say their name, tell them my name, and they've just really guided us for what we're doing now.
Now, we talked a lot about Nick and his background. Now, you're a year out from going, to seeking more education. Any direction that you're going in right now? Are you looking at schools, and are you staying with the cosmetology thing, or are you going in a different direction?
I do want to get my cosmetology license.
That's key.
And I want to go to a 4-year college. I don't know where yet. And I want to do cosmetology on the side, preferably to pay my way through college. Okay. And yeah, My future isn't really set yet, but
Is there any early indication as to is this something that you kind of go, I think I'd like to do that?
yeah, interior design is really like interesting me. I think cosmetology has really brought that upon me because of the creativity. You have to know color and pleasing someone.
Now, you both have done things that I want to kind of talk about. We were talking before we went on camera. Besides being someone who's part of this program and a senior, you're also an Eagle Scout, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I believe that you did a very special project here for the school. Did you not?
Yes.
Kind of share it.
I built a cross-country trail for the South Shore Votech. So because when I learned about the Eagle Project, I thought this would be a great Eagle Project because I saw the kids one day running on the side of the street, and I know parents aren't, so like happy if their kids might face danger. So why not bring it into a safer environment? And that's where the school's property came into hand.
Okay, and so you did what? You made some kind of a running path?
I did
or
do a
what did you
running path. It's about 4.5 feet wide, and it spans for about 1.5 miles worth of track throughout the woods.
And is it a matter of just kind of clearing stuff away, or did you kind of did you mark things? What did you do?
So the first step of it all was definitely retrieving the tools and people. And I know a couple of my friends really helped me out with that. And then the second part was we just went it through. We cleared all the brush, the fallen debris and trees, moved some of the dangerous rocks and tripping hazards. And then the last part was just lining parts of the course to make sure nobody goes off course or anything.
Kevin, and Nick is absolutely answering your question, but it doesn't even begin to address all of the behind-the-scenes work. I got to tell you, if vocational schools didn't exist, thank goodness for the Boy Scouts, because when I am always impressed with the service they provide and the Eagle Scout projects. Nick, you had to do a ton of work just to get permission and approval. You had to have it validated and by your own scout leaders. You had to go to the town of Hanover to talk
I had to go
about
to the
this.
conservation department.
Yeah, can you talk about what some of the behind the scenes stuff?
Some of the behind the scenes was talking to you, Dr. Hickey.
Yeah, that was tough. I said yes within a second. Yeah.
The second part was going to the conservation department because there were wetlands out there. And that's where it kind of became a problem, where I had to pull some permits. But once they figured out what I was actually going to get, was doing, they were like, go for it. Because what I was doing was actually, it wasn't hurting the environment, more of actually helping the environment, because I was cleaning out all the debris that was kind of cluttering up the woods. So now, more animals could also move through there.
I got to say, the one thing that I've been impressed with over the time that I've been associated with the school, with Whitman Heights Community Access, is how well the students interact with the superintendent. Talk to me about Dr. Hickey, and because it seems as though you know these students and know a lot about them. Tell me something about Dr. Hickey. What is it so easy to be able to talk to an administrator like him, like he's part of the family, if you will, Tina?
Well, he's from my hometown.
Okay.
And he's just very kind, warm-hearted, and very understanding.
I appreciate that, Tina. Thank you. I think part of it is that I don't go by Dr. Hickey, so you're being. I appreciate the courtesy, so I think I try
You
to
put the time in. So.
Yeah, thank you. But still, that's.
But I think I myself, anybody who, and I'm sure parents will agree with me, those who are watching at home, is that I see it whenever you're with certain students, students, I see you interacting and talking with students. I don't necessarily see that with a lot of. So where a lot of times, maybe they're really busy with administrative stuff, but you not only have time to know what's going on with the school when it comes to the numbers and its future, but as to some of the folks who will be our future here on the South Shore, and it's impressive. Would you agree, Nick?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'll see him walk around the school and interact with the different kids, and a lot of people I've seen in my old Ann Arbor high schools, they don't do that as much, but Mr. Hickey is a lot more interconnected with the school community.
How do you feel about? How does that make you feel? I mean, these kids. I see these kids that kind of look up to you, and I'm not saying it just because Nick and Tina are here, but I have seen this over and over and over.
it's the high point of my day to be able to interact with students. So I've been here for 20 years as a teacher and as a principal, and I think I have absolutely the best job in the world because we're a one school district. I know many superintendents whose passion remains kids learning, being in an educational setting, but they, as you said, they have great constraints. Superintendents that manage multiple buildings, they might be in a central office, and so they haven't perfected cloning yet, so they have to only be in one place at one time, but that absolutely doesn't diminish that they share my same passion for seeing kids thrive and succeed. I think I have a great arrangement because my office is in this building, and like I said, the idea that in the course of a regular school day I can still engage, not able to engage as much as I did necessarily when I was a principal or even as a classroom teacher, but trying to make the most of the relationships. It's the relationships that matter, and with the parents as well. As we've talked about, you have parents from, we're a huge district geographically, and for a lot of families, their child goes to that school that's a few towns away. We need to make them feel included as well. So you build good relationships, top-notch customer service. It's the same lessons they learn in cosmetology, right? Or the clients don't come back. And so we want students coming back, we want parents happy, and it also helps me stay on the pulse with what's going on.
Okay, good to know. We just got less than 10 minutes left here. I want to give Tina a chance to kind of talk, because from what I understand, you actually had a chance during your sophomore year to compete in a very special competition, correct?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Skills USA. What is that like?
So you go on a bus ride, and it's about an hour, and you sit and you do a written test with a specific group. Last year I was under 500 hours because I was only a sophomore, and I came in 4th place. And to go on to like the bigger group, you have to either have 1st or 2nd place. And so I'm going again this year, but I'm over 500 hours because I'm a junior now.
Of course.
And so I'm hoping to get either 1st or 2nd place to go onto the bigger and better.
And Kevin, I can just punctuate that a bit. For a sophomore to get 4th place is
phenomenal.
Is quite good. And what Tina's referring to is the levels of competition of Skills USA, they begin at the district level. So I was able to go last year, I think Greater New Bedford Voc Tech.
Yes, that's
right?
what it was.
So Greater New Bedford, nice big regional Voc Tech down on the South Coast, they host the district competition. South Shore, Blue Hills, Southeastern, Old Colony, et cetera, et cetera. We compete at the district level there. And as Tina said, the top 2 students then go to the next round of competition, which is the state competition. And the state competition is held at Blackstone Valley in May, and that's in Upton. If you get a gold medal from the state competition, you're going to the National Skills USA competition, which is in June in Kansas City. Again, high stakes, great competitive atmosphere. As a superintendent, I also have an opportunity to get a nice prime seat for some of this competition. And when you go to the state competition, which I have no doubt we'll see Tina at this year, you're in a gymnasium at Blackstone Valley. You've got all of these students from around the state in the classic red Skills USA jackets that you know. There's a uniform that goes with it, a real dignified look to this. But to see all of these students passionate about their trade, willing to compete, it's a great feeling for my colleagues that attend as well. And we were fortunate. We've been fortunate to have national medalists, as you know from covering our meetings in the past. It's a great reflection on the hard work of the students.
Let's talk about, we actually have a couple of mannequins that are here that each of you, I believe, designed the particular hairstyles. Is that correct? Or would you want to kind of talk about the mannequins?
These were actually developed by our sophomore class.
Oh, okay. Tell us a little bit about, because from what I understand, there's a story behind what you guys have to do in regards to getting a kid. Is that something we want to touch upon when it comes time to, when you take this class?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's easy for me to just at least start it off. Students have to, as we learned from Nick's earlier comment, there's a financial commitment to paying for the board test.
Correct.
But at the beginning of the program in cosmetology, there's also a significant investment. Students have to buy their own kit to the tune of approximately $300, $300. I'm going to leave it to Tina and Nick to talk about what goes into this kit, but what the contents of the kit they're obviously are using to perform tasks like this and also to use professionally. What actually is in a kit that you would purchase?
So there's about 2 curling irons and a flat iron and a blow dryer and really like good shears. They're not cheap. They've lasted me 2 years.
Professional.
Yeah, and there's about like 40 combs. There's a lot of combs. But if you lose anything, you have to replace it.
I guess I got to ask you: has it been a valuable tool for you to have in order to be able to get where you are?
All the tools that we got in that kit were exactly what we needed for everything. And they're actually pretty good tools too. They're not something that's cheap that anybody's trying to make money off of.
Is there anything, we just got like 2 minutes left. I can't believe the time has flown. Is there anything that you want to either leave with maybe the next group of students that may be coming to South Shore Votech that might want to come into the Cosmo group?
Being grateful for the opportunity that you get here. It's not every state, or well, not state, but every town can have one of these schools.
Tina?
I agree, being grateful, because people pay a lot of money to go through cosmetology school, and here we're doing it for free besides the $300 kit, but it's a great opportunity, it really is.
Tom, anything you want to say in closing?
These students make the most of their time here at South Shore Votech. As I said earlier, Kevin, I have a whole school filled with kids. Students who are willing to make the most of their opportunities here, it's what you put into it. Our teachers deliver that message. Our industry advisors that are going to hire our students deliver that same message. You're seeing 2 great students here today that when they graduate, they will look back and say, and they will not leave here with regret. They will not leave here with a feeling of, I wish I had done more or participated in more. They've done great work, and they are great representatives of the school.
Well, I got to thank Nick and Tina for being guests as well as you, Tom, for sitting in and kind of, being. While I may have some of the preliminary things, you know the pulse of what's going on with each one of the labs and the shops that are here, and thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for shining the spotlight on us.
You got it. And that's another Crosstalk here from 476 Webster Street in Hanover in the Cosmetology Lab of South Shore Votech. Until next time, have a great day.